Hello everyone, this is part 37 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. It had been a little over 2 months since Naruto left Konoha for Demon World, and as time passed during that time it was driving his future wives up the wall. It didn't help that when something went wrong in the Kazama estate with one or more of them, that they blamed each other for it. Ino had actually blamed Tayuya for stubbing her toe one morning when the actual culprit was a corner of wood from the table. Tenten had to fight away several would-be suitors that approached her from Mist one day, and it took her 2 days of arguing with Kin and Hana to tell them she only wanted to be with Naruto. Much to Kin's and Hana's displeasure, of course. The only ones that got along were Hinata and Haku, since they understood each other perfectly like twin sisters. Each knew that their love for the Juggernaut, son of the fourth Hokage, was unquestionable, and any point in trying to sabotage the other was a waste of time. Still, it didn't mean that the others couldn't keep an eye on them when they were out shopping or training with other boys to be safe. By the end of the 2nd month and the start of the 3rd, things were getting very catty at the Kazama estate, with tension running high. Even Arashi was contemplating moving into the Uchiha district for his own safety and personal well-being. Fortunately, help came along by one Yoko Kurama in his human Kurama form, bearing a gift, a speaker phone that he altered through one of his demon plants to allow him to talk to Naruto, within limited reason, while he was recovering at the hospital in Demon World. He was instantly pulled into the house and was basically forced to install the phone or face the wrath of some very eager women, who wanted to speak to their man. Though Kurama wasn't afraid, he felt it was best to do what they asked, since for this to work they needed to understand the ground rules of using the speaker phone system that he placed in a neutral room of the estate with only one door. The first rule was by far the most important one that needed to be made for the sake of both Naruto's sanity and to a degree his future wives. No abuse of talking on the phone with Naruto. The second rule was 15 minutes of talking time with Naruto for each person, and they had to have it written down so not to run into the others' talk time with him. The third rule was to keep all the swearing and perverted like talk to a limited minimum or within some reason. Of course, naturally both Hana and Tayuya hated the third rule, since Hana wanted to talk sweet perverted talk to Naruto. Tayuya, being Tayuya, wanted to at least swear at Naruto for making her wait in the dating line, even though she was right after she had been told that Naruto would date her after Hana. After Kurama setting up the phone system and activating the demon plant inside of it, Kurama punched in the number to call Naruto's hospital room. He had his own speaker phone set up while he was resting so he wouldn't have to stress his body too much. After some ringing was heard on the system, they heard Naruto pick up using the speaker button on his own phone. "Hey guys, how's the weather back home?" said Naruto over the speaker phone, only for them to speak at once with Hana's perverted sweet talk, Ino screaming at him about Temari, Temari doing the same with Ino, and Tayuya was cursing at him for making himself get so wounded he had to go to Demon World to get patched up. "Quiet!" yelled Gaara, coming into the room, not liking the noise he was hearing, and it didn't help that he was missing his alone time with Sakura in the next room across the hall. "Sorry brother," said Temari, knowing that interrupting his time was something that spelled doom for everyone. When Gaara left, Hinata used this time speak, since her voice was the quietest of the group and could never overpower the others unless she really had to. Naruto-kun, how are you healing?" said Hinata, finding herself stuttering when talking to Naruto, even though he wasn't in her current dimension of living was disturbing at the very least. "Don't worry Hinata-chan, I'm healing very well. Hiei-sensei helps me with his Jaganai like I did with you after the preliminaries. Though with my condition it is far more advanced, so it will take several more sessions before I can walk around without feeling any pain," said Naruto, who let out small wince-like noises as the sound of him moving in a minuscule manner could be heard. "Those nurses aren't giving you sponge baths, are they?" said Hana worriedly, since she wanted to be the one who did that. "No Hana-chan, though I would be lying if I said they never tried. I take my own baths in the hospital's hot spring that they use for muscle treatment so I can do two things at once, said Naruto, giving off a small chuckle before mumbling something about perverted dog women. Hana of course heard this and blushed, and the girls came to a realization that whatever Naruto said involved her and the word pervert. They should know, since they blushed when he did that with them at least once when he was asleep in the Kohona's hospital. I've set the ground rules for when they call to talk to you, Naruto. I've also programmed one of the phone buttons to automatically dial you so they don't have to try and call you by pressing the buttons at a frenzied pace, said Kurama, smirking at Kin and Taiuya, who both scowled at the fox demon as if to imply they didn't know how to use simple appliances. Just because they nearly destroyed the stove before Kurama came over didn't mean they didn't know how to use a demon plant enhanced phone. Thanks, Kurama. Also, could you find Konohamaru and tell him and the Corps that I'm eventually going to send him a fox messenger about some important things, said Naruto, saying important in a discreet manner, though everyone knew or had an idea of what the boy was doing with the trio. There was a prank being done and Naruto was hiring them to carry it out in his name. Of course, said Kurama, walking out of the room to find the trio of kids that looked up to the demon vessel of a boy. Naruto, what's it like in Demon World? What are demons like? Are there more males than females? Do they have more eyes or ears than humans do? Said Ino, as she had heard the myths behind people who had supposedly fallen into the realm and lived to tell the tale. Well, considering this is my second time visiting, I'm actually quite used to it by now. As for the demons here, they are pretty cool once you get to know them. A few of them have more than 2 eyes, or ears, and yes, they sharp claws, but it's their personality that you can really understand. Not that they aren't tough or anything, but you'll find that demons are almost the same as humans when it comes to having a personality. Well, the C-class and higher do anyway, said Naruto before he took a bite of some food, with him munching on his meal being heard over his phone. Naruto, about that Yusuke guy with the crazy white hair, what is he like? Said Haku, who when looking at the man felt he had a small aura of human in him. Oh, you mean Yusuke-sama? He's the current ruler of Demon World. Basically, he set up a system to keep everything balanced between Demon World, Human World, and the Spirit World. Every 3 years a demon tournament is held to determine who rules Demon World for the next 3 years before they have another tournament. Yusuke was originally human, but after getting so strong when he was a spirit detective for Spirit World, that when he SD on his last case, his demonic blood that had been lying dormant in him had finally awakened. He came back to life a half-demon and technically became the heir to Raisin, the demon king of war, said Naruto before taking a sip of his drink, running it dry. So is he going to be training you? Said Kin, wondering just how strong this new demon was compared to Slate, since that would be one hell of a slugfest. Yeah, though mostly in taijutsu since he's best in that area. Apparently it was one of the many aspects he inherited from his demon blood. I guess you could say it's really more of a family thing, said Naruto, shuffling in his bed with the sounds of him moving in it echoing through the speaker. Oh, Naruto-kun, before I forget, my aunt Inuzuka Rin returned from her long exile the day you left. She's going to be the new clan head of the Inuzuka clan in hopes to steer them away from what they have become, said Hana, knowing that news made her happy and she knew that Naruto would like it too. If one could read minds, you could hear cat hisses within the other girls' heads. Really? That's great, Hana-chan. If I could, I'd give you a hug, but I doubt that's one of the features on these phones, said Naruto, laughing a little before wincing in pain slightly from his wounds. Despite the sound of him in pain, Hana had a gentle smile on her face. Leave it to Naruto to make you feel better even when he's in pain, thought Hana, as she was now happier than ever that she wanted Naruto to be her mate. Now if only she could get the others away, she would practically howl at the moon to show it. Oh, by the way, Hinata-chan, how is Neji? I heard that your father and some of the other Junin helped clean house with the Hyuga elders shortly after I left, said Naruto, as he had his own little information network in the form of the fox pets Kurenai and Hinata had. Yes, Naruto-kun. The scroll you left behind with the seals to remove the servitude seal on the branch family really works wonders. Everyone that was once parts of the branch family are grateful for your help, said Hinata, who was so happy that she forgot about her stutter when she spoke. That's good, since family should act as one. Though it's a shame that Danzo team and the old man's 2 teammates got away when the fighting was over, said Naruto, as he had met the man before and knew he was up to no good. Your father talked to that super pervert and told me he's at Sound right now with the other two assholes. They are using what Orochimaru left behind and are going to turn it into their version of Konoha, but since the place was already in chaos before, it will take them a while to get things up and running, said Ino, though she silently wanted to the three traitors for trying her Naruto-kun. Her inner Ino shared the same sentiment. No doubt there are people in Rice Country that disapprove of both the past and present people managing their country by using the Sound Village as muscle. Are there any type of clans in Rice Country that Danzo might want to use to raise Sound's power? Said a curious Naruto, knowing that if such clans existed they could get some help within enemy territory. Jiraiya is currently working on getting information from his spy network, but right now it's difficult since he needs to get information on Sound and Akatsuki at once, said Haku, knowing that information gathering was not easy when you have multiple targets that do not like to keep secrets. All the same, Haku, I need you and Kimimaro to check for me later on, since he knows a great deal about the places around Sound Village and Rice Country. If there is a clan in Sound Village that wants to break free due to the poor management, then maybe we can use that to our advantage. But enough about work, let's talk about something else, said Naruto, knowing that talking about working would bore the others sooner than later. What the hell about? I mean, it's not like we can talk about some other unless it's about people outside the house or those not in the room, said Tayuya, finally speaking after what seemed to be forever. Well, let's talk about Itachi and Ayami. How are those two? Said Naruto, since he had been wondering about that relationship for some time now. Not bad. Ayami actually moved into the Uchiha household, and from the look on her face she's quite happy, said Temari, seeing the ramen girl the other day with a shine in her eyes. There's a reason why, you blonde whore. She's getting the banging of a lifetime with the damned Uchiha, said Tayuya, only to get hit by a blushing Temari for the insult. If that's true, then don't tell Ayami's father that. Even if Itachi is an Uchiha, that old guy will come at him with a butcher knife if he has to, said Naruto, laughing slightly this time as to not cause a great deal of pain while picturing the idea of the old ramen stand owner charging blindly at Itachi just standing there while Ayami told her father to stop not far off. It was almost like something out of a movie. Nah. Good point, Naruto-kun, said Hinata thoughtfully, knowing that if had been her father she would never have a chance to relax for 1 minute without her father trying to find out if he was going to be a grandfather sooner or later. She blushed at the thought of her and Naruto being intimate, and even more at giving birth to a small litter of kits that resembled her and him running around. It was then that Naruto on his side of the phone heard a thump of a fallen body. What was that? Said Naruto, worried slightly, knowing the sound could mean anything when it's a human body falling. Hinata fainted, but from the look on her face now beet red, it must have been something very naughty, said Hana, knowing that look anywhere. Put her on the couch for a little while until she recovers, since I doubt she would want to wake up on the floor, said Naruto before the door to his hospital room could be heard being opened and footsteps of someone walking closer to him. Sorry to interrupt your time with the girls, Naruto, but you need to go to the hot spring for muscle therapy, said Slade, now next to the speaker phone, getting groans from the girls echoing from the speaker. Sorry girls, time for me to hang up. Oh, and as for Konohamaru and the core, I just want you to know that whatever they are doing, I need you to stay away from both Tsunade and Jiraiya for the next week or two, said Naruto in the speaker, with the ruffling of sheets being heard and moved in the background. Why? Said Kin, though she and the others already knew. Let's just say Konoha needs a good laugh before the tension causes everyone to have a mental breakdown. I'll talk to you later. Bye, said Naruto before the sound of the phone connection was cut when one hangs up the phone, and Haku ended it on their end as well. Elsewhere in Konoha, at the present moment in time, the Konohamaru Corps, led by one grandson of the third Hokage, Sarutobi Konohamaru, was sitting at their leader's ramen stand to help fill in their seat Naruto left behind. The man named Kurama came around earlier and told them they would receive special orders from Naruto with 2 targets for their mission. I can't wait until leader gets back, said Konohamaru just as he wolfed down his bowl of miso ramen with gusto. Mogi and Udon nodded in agreement, since they had noodles handing from their mouths and looked forward to asking about what his life was like in Demon World. Moments later, a messenger fox appeared on the counter next to Konohamaru with a large scroll in his mouth. This is from the second master. Enjoy, said the fox after it placed the scroll down and went, poof. Curious, the third's grandson slurped up the last of his noodles and opened the scroll to find a letter inside written by Naruto. What's the letter say, Konohamaru? Said Udon curiously, since he couldn't read it from where he was on the opposite side with Mogi between both boys. Dear Konohamaru Core, I hope you guys are doing alright without me, since I've been gone for a little over a week and haven't lost your edge when it comes to a good prank. If you are up to it, I got one just in mind and I have 2 targets for you to hit. The first is my dad's sensei Ero Sennin, since he's the writer of those perverted books all the older guys read these days. The next target is the Hokage herself. Now I know you're thinking, why her? And, is he crazy? Or something along those lines. The reason I want you to prank her is so she does not let her guard down and in fact keep her awake, since she sleeps and drools all over her paperwork after drinking heavily from the previous night, Dad told me. Also, to answer the second question, yeah, I am a bit crazy, but it's always the crazy ones that come up with the best pranks. Here's what you do. Target Tsunade first and direct her towards Ero Sennin. Take all of her sake bottles in her office she keeps hidden and drain them out and fill them with flavored water. Ask Shizune for help on this, but don't reveal your entire prank to her, just that you know that she drinks and you want to help. Tell her that if she doesn't that you'll tell everyone she has a huge crush on my dad. Yes, believe it or not, she does. Next, get poster paper. Lots of it. Make Tsunade posters with a big red circle and a red slash through the center of her form. Ask Jiraiya for a picture of her, since he has several hundred of her stashed away for an emergency. Note: as a last resort you may have to use that jutsu I taught you, Konohamaru, but don't let the women know about it or they'll beat the crap out of you, grandson of the third or not. Place posters in every bar, gambling house, and sake store in Kohono. Tell them your grandfather wants Tsunade to kick her drinking and gambling habits. Once they hear that, they'll bend over backwards to keep her at bay. Until she starts to hurt them. Make sure the picture in the poster can be traced back to Ero Sennin as one of his more prized pictures. That way she'll think he's behind it and go after him, only not the way he has in mind. Next, I want you to go after Ero Sennin while Tsunade is still trying to gamble and get some sake. This will be more difficult because you have a time limit, since Tsunade has a very short fuse temper as she is a bigger loser in gambling. For this I need Mogi to do a henge of Tsunade and seduce him, sorry Mogi, into meeting her later for some hot spring fun on the male side to keep him away from peeping on the female half of the hot spring. Tell him that you'll bring the sake if he brings only himself. After that, look for Tsunade, follow the carnage she creates, and you will expect to see her really angry. Tell her, Hengda's Anbu, that, Jiraiya-sama, set up the posters as a wish by your grandfather, sorry Konohamaru, to calm your drinking and gambling addiction. No doubt by this point she'll want to hurt you, so tell her that the super pervert has a bottle of sake on hand in the hot springs and is right now flirting with a woman on the male side of the hot spring, laughing secretly at her expense. After this happens, get out of the way as fast as possible to set up the final stage of the prank. After a good 10 minutes you'll probably hear the sounds of screaming, punching, and basically Ero Sennin getting beaten within an inch of his life. To complete the prank I need you to have one big poster that will cover the lower 5 heads of the Hokage monument. It should show Tsunade punching Ero Sennin with words at the bottom. For this to work I need you Mogi to take the picture that with a jutsu I created will transfer the contents taken to the poster itself. See bottom of scroll, but do it discreetly away from prying eyes. The words that should be written for the picture are as follows. Mean Granny Godzilla Tsunade vs the Super King Kong Pervert Jiraiya. $10 per entry. And do it in big letters so everyone can see it. Also the picture should be altered to a degree that Tsunade looks like a giant fire-breathing lizard and Ero Sennin looks like a big hairy ape. After completing that, head over to my house and lay low for a while. If anyone asks you where you were, it was at my estate learning from my father about water walking. He's a former prankster too, so he'll back you up should the investigation team get suspicious. Well, that's all I can do for now in terms of pranks, but I'll send you something down the line to be creative with later on your own. Remember, I can't help you prank forever and you need to carry on the tradition when I give up doing something like this. Until I see you again, your leader. Kazama Uzumaki Naruto, said Konohamaru before showing the others the details of the mission with outlines and the fastest routes to get to key necessary places for the prank to work. When should we start? Said Mogi, knowing that it would take some time to gather such materials without being considered suspicious. Given the significance of the prank, it could take at least a week, 2 at the most, to finish and put into action. We should get started right away, said Udon, who got a nod from the other two before setting out on a prank that would be second if not tied for first to the desecration of the Hokage monument. 1 week later. It had been a solid week since the prank had been given to the Corps, started as they carried it out quietly in Naruto's name. The same could be said for the speaker phone system had been installed into the Kazama estate as it showed signs of being used by more than one person. Each girl put their own little mark on the device to signify that it was theirs as a way to show the others how they loved Naruto. By that time Haku had divided her time up looking at information she had been given on Sound and Rice Country, with Kimimuro's help later on, training, and talking with Naruto, who assured her that when he was able would take her on her date fitting his, Ice Goddess, as she was called by him in private. Her blush nearly lasted 10 minutes after that, making some of the others to raise eyebrows at just what exactly Naruto said to her to make her go the deep shade of red. Hinata was doing the same in dividing her time up, though when she wasn't training or talking with Naruto she continued to spend time as Tsunade's apprentice. Her first real assignment under the Slug Sannin was to examine Kimimuro's chest area during all of his follow-up exams to see how far his lung-destroying disease was gone. After informing her it was leaving him at a steady pace, she gave her estimate that he would be 100% by the end of the month, since the disease itself had almost left a lasting impression on the young albino. Tsunade, after hearing such information, agreed with the Hyuga girl, and Hinata found she was very happy that her performance was on. The Sannin even praised Hinata, that she even told the girl that she might one day take the title of Sannin herself one day. Had Hinata not fainted she probably would have received even more praise for taking such compliments without doing what she did. Several days later, Kakashi finally got out of the hospital before he met up with Asuma, who told him the news of Rin's return to Konoha. Of course, Asuma would have told Kakashi sooner, but given the recent surgery it could have opened the sachets and made the former Sharingan eye user lose his new normal eye. Inuzuka clan house. Kakashi has been nervous by this point as he hadn't seen Rin in so long, and she no doubt heard all the stuff he had done, including what he had done to Naruto no less before their sensei came back from the S. She's going to kick the crap out of me before this day is through, thought Kakashi, walking up to the door and knocking before one of the members of the clan opened to let him as he was expected. The son of the White Fang walked with his Inuzuka guide to see Rin, wondering just how he should handle this situation. That and wondering what possible way to escape death should things turn dicey for him when Rin wanted to make him feel pain. Entering the newest room and passing the Inuzuka that was once in front of him, Kakashi came out of his thoughts, realizing that he was now about to see Rin face to face. It has been too long, Kakashi. I see the surgery for getting a new eye to replace Obito's old one that he gave you went well, said Rin, as she was currently sitting down in a luscious chair meant for only the prestige members of a clan while sipping some tea. To think people see this a scar done by the surgery and not from one of our early years together, Rin-chan, said Kakashi, trying to sound calm as ever, though deep down it was pointless to be that way with her. Don't, Kakashi. I heard about what you did while I was gone and after, when Sensei SD leaving his only son in the hands of ruthless villagers. Despite all your genius you could not see just how he looked so much like Arashi. How narrow-minded could you have possibly been? And what's more is you used the Chidori on him once and taught it to one student who turned traitor, said Rin, her anger clear in her voice as she stared at the man she once had a crush on. I know, Rin. Everything just got out of hand after you left, and then when Sensei SD I closed myself off from everything and everyone around me. When I looked at Sasuke I ignored the hatred in his heart I knew he possessed and trained him in hopes to make Obito proud that I took on a new Uchiha to train using his eye. When I looked at Naruto all I saw was the very entity that held my source of my pain and bane of my existence. Deep down whenever I saw him I think I always knew he was Arashi's kid, but the side of me in pain didn't care about that. All I wanted was for the fox to suffer no matter what, and in turn I betrayed my own sensei. For all my genius I was the one who was the idiot of our group, Rin. Not Obito, said Kakashi, looking down at the ground, knowing that saying them hurt and knowing they were true hurt even more. I'm glad you see it that way, because I was going to say the same thing to you had you not only with a lot more choice words before I had my dogs tear you apart, said Rin, getting out of her chair and walking over to him, looking him straight in the eyes as if to see if he really meant what he said. He did. I guess if that's it then I'll go, said Kakashi with a sad look in his eyes before turning to leave, only for Rin to grab his right arm to stop him. Before Kakashi realized it, Rin pulled his mask down and kissed him right on the lips with a great deal of passion, only for it to end several minutes later with both gasping loudly for breath. I'm tired of you hiding behind that damn mask, Kakashi. No more, said Rin, kissing him again, only Kakashi more prepared for it this time. So, this means you forgive me, said Kakashi, breaking the kiss, hopefully wondering if he was finally gaining favor from Kami. If only he were that lucky. Out of nowhere, Rin kneed him in the groin, making him collapse with her walking over and past him before turning back to face. You are halfway there, Kakashi. Get rid of all your L books of and you will be forgiven, said Rin, walking out of the room while a heavily breathing Kakashi held his family jewels, though slightly glad and shocked they were still, if just barely, intact. Okay, first thing I have to do when I get back is, damn, Rin hit me hard, store away my Ica Paradise books, thought Kakashi, knowing that she said get rid of the books, but just in case things turned south on him like he felt now, he would need a good pick-me-up to ease the pain. Kakashi, using what little strength he had, went poof to the hospital to speak discreetly to one of the male doctors who handled these things with Jiraiya when he was caught by women or Tsunade. Everything felt intact downstairs, but he had to be 100% sure that his chances of being a dad didn't just go down by half. 1 week later, Demon World. How do you feel, Naruto? Said Hiei, watching his student slowly get out of his bed, not wanting to hurt his body any more than he should. The treatments Hiei had given him helped a great deal, along with the hot spring muscle therapy he was getting. He now had less bandages on and could now walk with the use of a cane with half-ox-shaped head, but that was only temporarily, seeing how the treatments were progressing quite well. Well, aside from my body still being a pain in the ass, I think I'm okay, said Naruto, as he gripped his cane and forced his body up from the bed. Don't be a smart ass, Naruto, at least you can walk again without any bandages and you have nearly all your multicolored hair back, said Yusuke, though in all honesty anything that got him away, such as this, from paperwork was fine by him. Sorry Yusuke-sama, I'm just a little agitated since I've been away from the girls I love back in Konoha along with my other family members, said Naruto, running a slightly shaky left hand through his fully restored hair. You must love all of them a lot if you miss them that much that you want to head back tonight for your date with that Haku girl, said Yusuke, shaking his head at the only guy who loved being around women when most guys want some space to breathe after making such commitments. I already made up my mind and I've been cleared by Kurama and Hiei to head back for my date with Haku. It all has to be done in secret so none of the other girls know I have returned until I leave again, so they don't try to stop me. If Hana, Ino, and out of or Tayuya ever found out of my return during my date with Haku-chan, I would never be able to leave, said Naruto, knowing his date with Haku needed to be special and he had just the thing for it. It's a good thing Hiei and Kurama approved of this, Naruto. In your condition Iruka can even KU and he's at least a high Chunin level ninja, said Yusuke, still not liking the boy going out on his date so soon. Are you saying that I'm too weak to go on this date, or that someone may try to K me while I'm on my date with Haku? Said Naruto, wearing black baggy ninja pants before he reached for his red muscle shirt. Just be careful, Naruto. That's all I'm asking, said Yusuke before turning his attention to the door as he heard footsteps just outside the room. I'm going to assume Slade is coming with you to see his mate later, said Kurama, who had now entered the room looking at Naruto putting on his shirt. Yeah. Kurenai, from what Hinata has told me, has been getting agitated and is sweating more from what she's seen of her sensei, said Naruto, smiling slightly while Slade, with his mental link not far from the boy in the hospital, laughed at Naruto's words, knowing what the boy spoke of. Maybe I shouldn't have influenced her mind to dream of me while I was gone, thought Slade, as he remembered sending such influence through her when he last grabbed her butt cheek after their last night together. Soon things were going to get interesting in Konoha again. Later that night, Human World Konoha. Haku was completely surprised that a fox came to her with a message about her going on a date with Naruto tonight earlier that morning. She ran and went to Hinata, knowing that the girl would help her since she already went on her date with Naruto. Hinata, knowing the ice user wanted to do something special for Naruto while keeping the others out of the loop, for obvious reasons, gladly offered her aid. Hinata knew this was Haku's time with Naruto as she had already had hers, despite the interruption with him. They had spent the entire day getting her ready while keeping the other girls out of the loop, which, considering the group, wasn't easy. For this to work, Haku asked Zabuza for help her with this before he left with Anko for Wave Country on a simple C-ranked mission to get the money the old bridge builder Tazuna had finally gotten for them thanks to the bridge being built and the trading they had done to make their land strong again. Of course, for Zabuza to help he needed Anko too, since it would work better that way in the terms of distraction he had planned. Quite simply, the girls except Haku and Hinata were to train today, while Haku, who had severely sprained her ankle, according to the Hinata, was to stay home. Hinata would be with Haku to help take care of her in order to help gain a lot more medical experience. That was the lie anyway, but nonetheless it worked perfectly. Soon after hours of preparation and looking her best for Naruto, with the help of Hinata, Haku rose from her seat to meet her love at the door before going to the top of the ever-large Hokage monument in her outfit. She was currently wearing a snow-white kimono with a red fox and black dragon on the back. She had a black cloth around her waist tied in the back in a bow with all her curves showing along with both of her front and back assets. Haku had kept her hair long, but put it back in the way she had it when she had always been the fake hunter ninja when traveling with Zabuza. "You look beautiful, Haku," said Hinata, putting on the final touch on Haku's hair, making the ice mistress look like a woman of pure royalty. "Thank you, Hinata, not only for doing this for me, but to help in my date as well. I know how much Naruto-kun means to you because I feel the same way about him as you do," said Haku, rising from her seat just before the doorbell rang. "That must be him now," said Hinata, making Haku's heartbeat go faster by the minute before rushing, carefully, to the door using her ninja skills to avoid damaging either her hair or her dress. When she got to the door, stopped and checked her hair one last time before smoothing out her dress of the invisible wrinkles she believed it possessed. With her dress now ready and Hinata having placed a note outside Haku's room stating she was sleeping, Haku opened the door to find Naruto looking completely stunning to her. Naruto was wearing his black baggy pants with the red muscle shirt that he had from the hospital, only he picked up a shadowy black leather coat that went down slightly past the back of his knee. He was wearing his ninja headband tied around near his elbow with his hair in all his multicolored glory hanging around him like a mane of an alpha male. His eyes were now blue SS, his teeth had fangs coming slightly out of his lips, and his whisker marks were now showing in a thicker manner than before, giving him a look made him a breed apart from others. He was Kazama Uzumaki Naruto, and right now, he was Haku's date for the evening. "I see the great ice goddess of this estate has granted me the honor of seeing her in all her beauty that can only be summarized in 2 words. Breathtaking," said Naruto before giving her a special bouquet of icy blue-looking roses known as ice flowers, straight from Demon World. "They are beautiful. Thank you, Naruto-kun," said Haku, taking hold of them before handing them to Hinata, who though they were lovely and went to put them in a vase in Haku's room. Moments later they heard a faint thump in Hinata's room. Hinata fainted. "I wonder why," said Haku curiously, knowing that sound from anywhere in the house since it happened more times than most. "I never did get a chance to give her flowers on a date, so when she headed to her room I gave her roses too. They were lavender colored and known as angel feathers, back in Demon World. I owed her that much," said Naruto, knowing he had deprived Hinata to an extent on their last date and didn't want the poor shy Hyuga girl to feel she got the short end of the stick on her date. "You thought of everything," said Haku out the door with him noticing his cane and realized he was doing this for her despite his injuries. "Yep. Dad and Kimimaro will hold down the estate while I'm away. Hinata, seeing how she fainted, will be sound asleep on her bed due to her fainting spell. The girls are busy, in no small part to you I might add, and with my plan to keep Tsunade and Jiraiya distracted tonight. No one outside of Demon World knows I'm here with you," said Naruto, now taking her hand with his left and giving it a kiss, making Haku blush red after shade of red. "Where shall we go now, Naruto-kun?" said Haku, wondering what he had in mind for the date. "First, I want to take you to a very special spot I want you to see. Though in truth I am sure you've already seen it before, but not in which will take your breath away, and then I want to take you someplace you have not been to in order for me to sweep you right off your feet," said Naruto, knowing just what he wanted to show the woman, among the many, that he loved just what he sees at night. Elsewhere streets of Konoha. Tsunade was not having a good night. No, not by a long shot. She had finished all of her paperwork early and wanted to get stone cold drunk. That wasn't so much to ask for, since she was the Hokage, and the Hokage as such has the right to drink his, or in this case herself, to the limit of her abilities. When she got the first bar she saw Sunad was instantly denied by the bartender before showing the signs he had put around that told him not to give her any sake. Naturally the woman was pissed off. After storming out of the bar she went to another one, and then finally to 2 more bars, each denying her a drink of sake, pointing to poster the other bars had. Realizing that tonight wasn't her night to drink, she turned to her greatest addiction that went beyond drinking. Gambling. Her luck in that department was just as poor if not worse off, as she was denied in every gambling parlor in Kohona. It was bad enough Sunad couldn't drink, but gamble too. Sunad was nearly ready to scream and tear down a few buildings at the one opportunity to get drunk and gamble to her heart's content, only to find that she couldn't. If Kami did have a sense of humor, it was either cruel or unusually messed up fun, all at her expense. Within moments of her soon-to-be breakdown, 3 masked Anbu came and carefully approached her as to not get hit and sent sailing into the Hokage monument. "Excuse me Hokage-sama, but we feel we need to tell you something about these posters that have come to our attention," said the ANBU, with the monkey mask on. "Yes, what is it?" said Sunad, nearly wanting to tear something apart, and the Anbu in front of her seemed a good choice right now. "Apparently your old teammate Jiraiya-sama put those posters up saying it was a request from the third himself to beat you out of your habit. Right now he is currently in the hot spring male section with a bottle of sake and flirting heavily with another woman," said the second Anbu, with a Robin mask on that was clearly female. "What? I want you 3 to remove those posters at once," said an angry Sunad, ready to bust Jiraiya's skull into the hot spring floor, without the water to cushion the fall. "I wish we could Hokage-sama, but we can't. You see, we went to the third during our questioning, and though he did not authorize the use of the posters, he doesn't want them taken down either. He said we should tell you and have you deal with Jiraiya-sama in your own way," said the third Anbu, with an owl mask on. "My own way, huh?" said Sunad, her anger turning into thinking anger as she tapped her chin with her finger before smiling devilishly. "Yes Hokage-sama," said the Anbu with the monkey mask, nearly shivering and almost dropping the henge of the true person behind the disguise. "Tell the others that if they hear someone getting hurt in the hot springs, it just Jiraiya for being a pervert," said Sunad, heading off to pound the so-called author of Ica Paradise into the next century. "Phase 3, said the owl masked Anbu, turning to the leader of the trio that was the masked monkey, ANBU. "Oh yeah, Phase 3, said the monkey masked Anbu, before they headed off to the Hokage monument to trigger the last part of their prank. Meanwhile, on top of the Hokage monument, "Naruto-kun, why are on top of the Hokage monument?" said a blindfolded Haku, as she knew full well where she was due to the slightly cold wind that could only be achieved on top of the monument heads if you were looking at it during the day. "Because I want to show you how I see Kohona, and what better time than at night when it's filled with so much life," said Naruto, removing the blindfold he had made her wear halfway through their trip up the trail leading to it. What Haku saw made her gasp as she saw what Naruto was talking about as she looked at Kohona as it shined through the night. The stars were in the air, burning much brighter in the night sky than they did down below, while lights and sounds of life that were within the hidden village of the leaf showed how it was like a rare crystal jewel. Something so rare that just looking at it was almost a sin. "Almost. It's beautiful. I can see why this spot is precious to you," said Haku, snuggling closer to her love while pressing her assets closer to him and devouring his arm in them, making Naruto blush at such contact. "What is even more precious and more beautiful right now is you, Haku, my ice goddess from the heavens," said Naruto, looking at her, seeing her blush a red only Hinata could match, and nearly fainting in the process. "Flattery will get you everywhere," said Haku, kissing him on the lips, ming with him as their lips touched and their tongues met each other to further make the moment one of pure bliss. "If you thought that was great, I have one more thing for us to do to make this date perfect for the both of us," said Naruto, slowly guiding her back into the tree line to a lake he had seen when he was younger. "As always, only you can take perfection to a whole new level," said Haku, nuzzling into his shoulder, kissing his N every 2 seconds, making the boy purr slightly at her sweet actions. By the time they had left the top of the Hokage monument, 3 kids wearing goggles soon appeared not long after to put the final part of their plan into action. Even now, as they got into position, they could hear the sounds of Sunad wailing on him, calling him a selfish pervert, who shouldn't mess with a woman's need for gambling and drinking, hearing the breaking several parts of his bones in both his arms, legs, and any other parts of his body she could hit. "You got the picture, Mogi," said Konohamaru, looking at his female prank partner. Yep, here it is, said Mogi, handing the picture to her friend, who with Udon examined it for a few seconds to ripe if it was good. Let's get to work, you guys. According to the scroll, we each have to do the seals at the exact same time in perfect unison before channeling chakra into our hands, creating a bridge for the contents of the picture to enter the large poster, said Udon, looking over the scroll one more time to get the prank done correctly. Let's do it, said Konohamaru, ignoring the raging fury he was hearing of Tsunade as she continued her assault on Jiraiya. The poor said Toad-san, receiving the beating, was begging for his life and how he did not understand half of what she was talking about. This of course only fueled Tsunade's infuriation even more, thinking that he was lying out his super perverted ass. By the time they both realized they had been deceived, it was too late, and the final part of the prank created by Kazama Uzumaki Naruto and put into motion by the Konohamaru Corps, it was already too late. The final part of the trap had been sprung, with Tsunade and Jiraiya being caught in it. Kazama secret prank art. Embarrassing picture transfer jutsu, said the Konohamaru Corps, at the same time going through the hand signs of dog, bird, ox, rat, and toad, just before landing on last one, which just happened to be the hand sign for fox. Soon the prank had been activated for all, except two, to see throughout the village as the large poster rolled down, showing an angry lizard-looking, fire-breathing, and one angry as hell Tsunade. It showed her beating the holy hell out of a cowering Jiraiya, who had ape-like hair all over his body with an apish face to match, trying to lessen his inflicted pain by reading from his own book and writing ideas for a new one. When people saw this, they did what anyone would do when seeing such a thing. They laughed. Upon hearing the laughter, Tsunade and, barely conscious, Jiraiya saw the poster from their position and realized they had been pranked upon and good. 5 names came to mind, though one was out in Demon World, so he was immediately ruled out, giving him just 4 names, but one of the 4 had given up his prankster ways long ago, leaving just 3 simple kids. 3 kids who were taught the ways of prankster by the Prince of Pranksters. Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon. When I find you little bastards, I am going to destroyu 3 for this humiliation. Yelled a very pissed off Tsunade, which was heard throughout the Leaf into Wave and Spring country. Crap, we've been discovered. Head to the Kazama estate, said Konohamaru in a very panic-filled voice before using a small fire jutsu to destroy the mission scroll to prevent incrimination should they be caught and searched before all 3 members of the infamous Konohamaru Corps took off running for their very lives, yet again. With Naruto and Haku. While the prankster trio put the finishing touches on the prank before springing it full, Naruto had led Haku to a quite well-preserved lake he had found when he was 4 years. Some villagers had pursued him there only to lose him and give up the search, not even realizing that hiding in a tree above his pursuers at the time, Naruto was flipping him off. It was something he had learned from Anko 2 days prior when she came out drunk one night after bumping into some guy and kicking him between the legs when she thought he had grabbed her ass. She never expected it to be the constantly hated 4-year-old demon container, even if it was accidental and innocent. Shame the guy who lost his right nut couldn't say the same thing that night. What do you think? Said Naruto, showing her the lake as the moon and stars brought out the shining light that made it all the magical. Once more you show me a place I think is a sight to behold, yet I think there is more to this than you're telling me, said Haku, admiring the lake before looking at Naruto with an inquisitive eye. Looking underneath Haku. Well, I guess it's better than when you did that when you slept in my room that one time with Hinata, said Naruto, making her blush and forced her to quickly cover her nose to prevent a nosebleed from happening and staining her dress. So what if she did that and got a small yet noticeable eyeful of what lay beneath Naruto's boxes? She was curious, as was Hinata, and it wasn't like she was going to have her way with her love just mere moments before he woke up. Though Hinata's lustful look at that moment when she saw what Haku did clearly proved one thing: women, just like men, can be perverts too. Women just have better ways of not showing it, though hypocritical it may be. As a ninja, it is my job to be observant all the time, even when I don't have to be. Still, what you have in mind for this part of the date is still a mystery, said Haku, as she was slightly hoping that Naruto would kiss and make out with her all night, though she had a feeling there would be more to this place than just that. Tell me, Haku, have you ever skated on ice before? Said Naruto, looking at her with a semi-mischievous smile while at the same time was serious. You mean ice skating? I have heard about it in passing when I was a little girl growing up, But I have never experienced it myself, said Haku before what Naruto had in mind was sunk into her head like food in an Akamaiki's stomach. Watch. Demonic art. Frozen hell jutsu. Said Naruto using his left hand that he freed from Haku. He did several one-handed signs before stopping on a symbol Haku never saw before. It was the mark of the bear. The polar bear to be more accurate. After channeling some chakra from his body forward using the last seal he made to send it out, the lake turned completely into a thick sheet of ice. To Haku it seemed that the ice was shining with a supernatural color to it despite the fact this was a demonic jutsu. It wasn't until she heard a soft, thunk, sound did she turn to see Naruto put his cane by a nearby tree trunk. Naruto-kun, you need, said Haku, rushing over to him only to be stopped by Naruto putting a finger to her lips before smiling. Thanks to all the treatments I undertook in Demon World up until now, I can practically walk around normally without my cane for a good 15 minutes. For this date I want to spend that time ice skating with you as I planned, said Naruto, taking her hand once more to guide her to the ice. But shouldn't we wear ice skates for this? Said Haku as she followed Naruto's lead. Normally yes, but in this case all you need for what I have in mind is just your sandal-wearing feet, chakra control, and good old-fashioned balance, said Naruto, channeling chakra to his feet in a manner similar to water walking, but done in a way that it doesn't cut into the ice, but allows one to simply glide on the icy surface. Okay Naruto-kun. I'll just follow your lead then since you know what to do here, said Haku, though she knew she would secretly have to keep her mind sharp should something possibly happen to him and make him lose his footing. Here we go, said Naruto in a deep husky voice that nearly made Haku collapse in his hold then and there as he took her onto the ice. Haku found herself amazed at Naruto's chakra control as he guided her form along the ice as she had put a light amount of chakra into her feet to her sandals. They started off slow enough to allow each of the other to get a good feel of the ice, though Naruto was by far better since he had been practicing a week in advance for this very moment using the ever so helpful shadow clone jutsu while he rested in the hospital. Just because he was temporarily CS-pled didn't mean his clones had to be. Soon they both moved in unison of the other in a dance-like grace that was just as fluent as water and smooth as the ice they were skating on. They bowed, arched, and even spun in multiple circle types for what seemed like an eternity to both of them. Sadly though, time makes fools of us all, even them. Naruto could sense his body was starting to become strained and he realized, though he didn't show it, that his time without his cane for support was drawing to a close. It didn't help they were in the middle of the lake. Wanting to end this moment perfectly and still have time to spare, Naruto pulled Haku close to him as they were spinning around, at the moment, in a circle, before making a quick turn into a smaller circle, stopped sharply, looked into his love's surprised eyes, and then dipped Haku back before landing one of the most passionate kisses the girl had ever felt. Wow, said Haku, as they broke the kiss after a full minute looking at Naruto's eyes as he looked into hers with a warm smile. Wow was right. Expect nothing less from me Haku-chan, said Naruto, setting her back to standing upright position before his eyes showed he was now slightly in pain. Your time without your cane is almost up, said Haku worriedly and now mortified that she had endangered her love's health to make her happy. I still have a good 2 minutes left Haku, don't worry, said Naruto, seeing her worried face before kissing her cheek and then gliding with her to solid ground where his cane rested. Yuhi Kurenai's residence at the moment. Up for another round, said Slade, holding his love that was Yuhi Kurenai close while giving her but a playful yet soothing massage that made the genjutsu mistress M with desire and one of pain as her body though wanting was very much sore. No more Slade-kun. I'm all tired out. I'm only human remember, said Kurenai in a tired voice as she was snuggling up against the muscled chest of her lover, completely exhausted from what seemed to be endless love-making. Sad, but true. However, fear not my little Kure-chan, as I know what plagues your also worried mind on certain nights, and such things can be changed later on, thought Slade, massaging her hair and kissing her forehead. There was a way to fix this problem, but first the Demon Lord would need to do some much-needed research and checking of information before even trying to proceed with his idea. Then if his plan did succeed he would need Kurenai's permission to go through with it so they could be together, but in his heart he knew she would agree. He hoped anyway, especially with him now in the picture. He knew she would hate him in the morning, but he couldn't stay. Not when there is so much that I have to do. Right, Naruto. thought Slade, now dressed in his usual attire, looking at Kurenai's form one final time before leaving quietly out the door. Kazama Estate grounds 15 minutes later. I had a wonderful time tonight, Naruto-kun. It's a shame you have to leave for Demon World again, said Haku, slightly saddened her love couldn't stay longer. I know, Haku-chan. However, I need to return for more of my physical treatments to get my body restored and to train to become stronger. Don't worry, my ice goddess, I'll come and stop by from time to time, said Naruto, kissing her one more time before bowing in a graceful manner despite his physical pain. Promise, said Haku, knowing that if he were to make such a promise she would have no worries left. I promise you, Haku-chan, that no force of natural and no act of kami will stop me from returning to you, Hinata-chan, Hana, Kin, Ino, and all the others here in the estate, said Naruto, his voice sounding serious, knowing that if one didn't take promises seriously then what was the point of making them. Thank you, said Haku, kissing him for a good long 2 minutes before both of them broke free from their connection and Naruto backed up several feet. He would have gone further had Slade not appeared behind him in his usual calm form that everyone had always seen him use. Time to go, my boy, said Slade, going through the seals creating the portal before both he and Naruto stepped through it, with it closing seconds later. Haku stood there looking at that spot for a good 5 minutes more before stepping inside quietly into the Kazama estate. When she entered, however, she was met with the sight of the other girls, except Hinata, looking at her with crossed arms and tapping feet. Kazama Arashi was currently talking to an angry-looking Tsunade, who was glaring at the cowering, behind Arashi, Konohamaru-core, as they denied humiliating her in almost every sense of the word. Even if there was no real proof they had done it, and added to the fact that Arashi gave them all an alibi needed to get them off the hook, they were still the number one suspects in this travesty, as the enraged Hokage had put it. Jiraiya would have been there too, but he was in intensive care healing, having been ever so roughly dragged there by the slug Sanin before slamming him in front of a slightly pale-looking Shizune, saying that he was now her problem, before storming off to the Kazama estate. The noise she had made when talking to Arashi caused the girls, who were all trying to sleep, to get quite upset. Severely sprained ankle, said Ino, looking at Haku menacingly tapping her foot while Hana cracked her knuckles and Tayuya being restrained by Kin, who whispered something like, "Those who give good beatings are those who wait," to the angry redhead. Temari just held her iron fan like a blunt object, tapping it against her left hand with a heavy scowl on her face. Oh crap, said Haku, wondering slightly if Hinata had escaped their wrath. Fortunately, the girls did not suspect Hinata, seeing how she was so far into her faint spell that they assumed Haku said something regarding Naruto to make the Hyuga girl faint. Curse Hinata's shy-looking nature, thought Haku, knowing this was going to be a long night, day, and everything else in between. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.